Welcome to the Halley Elise Show, featuring your host, empowerment psychic Halley Elise. She is an author, psychic, and media personality, and has been listed as one of the top 100 psychics in America. Empowerment psychic Halley Elise shares the spiritual, metaphysical, holistic, and magical powers of the universe. Follow Halley on her website at HalleyElise.com, and all her shows can be seen via live stream video. Now, here's your host, empowerment psychic Halley Elise.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in this evening. Happy to say that I have a wonderful guest with me tonight. As you know, last week it was just me, but I always bring on the most delightful people, and I'm happy to say that this evening's guest is very unique. She's a teacher, she is a student, she is a rabbi, she is a facilitator, she is an author. We could probably sit all night and introduce your qualifications, so they might be easier to just say, welcome, Rabbi Jenny. I'm so glad you could be here this evening.
Hi, Halley. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So, you know, I started off with the whole you are this, you are that, but it's true. You wear very, I'm going to say, a very assorted amount of hats in your work. And I left off the fact that you as well do therapy, and that one of your areas of expertise is dealing with addictions and dealing with substance abuse and being able to help people move through that. And so I'm trying to think, where should we start? There's so much, and it's all exciting. Well, you know what? Believe it or not, I'm going to do something kind of backwards. Normally, we have a whole conversation, and then we talk about events. But I want to make sure that everybody knows what you're doing. So if you will, share what's coming up like this month as far as your events.
Okay. Well, what I have coming up is exciting. This Friday night, of course, is my bi-monthly Friday night Shabbat service, which is at St. Andrew's Episcopal Church. And they call it Temple St. Andrews for me. They let me host my service. All are welcome, but it is a traditional Friday night Shabbat service. The only thing different is I will educate you just a little bit more than a Friday night service. I also am participating in the Center for Spiritual Living's Christmas Eve service. It is a all-faith service where leaders of every faith are represented, and I've been the proud Jewish representative for that, as my passion is to always build bridges between the faiths and represent the Jewish faith in that way.
Okay, so now both of those are located in Boca, yes? Both the Spiritual Center for Spiritual Living. You know, they've changed the name a few times over the years.
Yes.
So I have to try to remember, wait, what are they calling it nowadays? But so that's in Boca off of Palmetto Park Road, and I think 12th Avenue, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the cross street there. It's to east of 95, so that
Just
people
east,
know.
yes.
And as far as the church, where is that located?
That is in downtown Lake Worth.
Okay.
Where I'm also a member of the Interfaith Network there. Where I also participate in events with other faith leaders as the Jewish representative. It's just sort of been where I landed after seminary, and it fits in with my passions, being raised in a southern town, a little Jewish girl. I encountered a lot of prejudice and ignorance, and so I'm very passionate about showing the similarities and not the differences between all the world faiths. It's just very important to me.
You know, it's interesting because I actually am an ordained minister, but I graduated from yeshiva. So you talk about a bit of an oxymoron and family going a little insane.
Right.
But the reason I did this was because I deal with non-denominational, you know, in the same sort of vein that I want everybody to understand that we all come from the same place, that, yes, there are teachings from every religion, every philosophy, but really and truly, it's about where your heart is. It's about listening, learning, being compassionate and understanding for each other.
Absolutely.
And when I was a kid and I was in yeshiva, I was in New York, so our neighbors were all Catholics. You know, they were all Italians, Irish. You learn very quickly how to get along with everybody. And thankfully, you know, I have parents that never had an issue with that. You know, I go to my Nana's house and we go to the Orthodox temple and have to learn about all of that. And then I go home and I'm at the yeshiva, which is Orthodox, but in the house it's conservative. And then all the neighbors are anywhere from, you know, Baptist to Southern Baptist to Catholic to you name it. There was no, if you will, separation there. And I think it's great that you can share that with people. And I believe the fact that you work with, and people didn't know this, but ancient mysticism, and specifically the Tree of Life, I feel like that gives you a foot up on how to share. So, you know, tell us a little bit about what that is so people that aren't familiar with the term mysticism in that context or aren't familiar with Kabbalah per se, have an understanding of what that tree is?
Well, this is a passion that was ignited by me in seminary. Many of you might have always have seen the image of the tree, or it looks like 10 spheres
Circles.
connected
Yes.
together. They sell it a lot in bookstores and New Age type places, but it became like an obsession when I was in seminary. I learned from a third generation Kabbalist from Hungary who's now passed on. But I would stare and stare at this flat surface and wonder, what does this mean? What does this mean? And it was revealed to me through his teachings and through my time staring at it, to be honest with you, that it's actually three-dimensional, and it's actually a way of manifesting things in your life by using different principles like mercy and compassion and open-mindedness and understanding, and finding out your own blocks, which are usually caused by fear. And I've taught this class at least 5 times in the past couple of years. It's a very intensive class.
In depth,
Yeah,
yes.
it is. But we make it accessible, because this is sacred knowledge, but it is also extremely necessary for us to understand we're energetic beings, and we're all attached through this geometry. One thing, Halley, have you ever been to Epcot?
Yes.
Okay. You know the big silver ball?
Yes.
Okay, and you know how it looks on the outside?
Yes.
Well, that's kind of what the world really looks like in energetic
Absolutely.
term. And so
We have the grid.
if you can place the tree on the grid, like, and imagine flying through it, like we would fly through the Epcot ball, that's kind of what life is like. And if you have blocks, or similarities with other people, you'll feel like you click with them, and it's really fascinating to see how it opens doorways for people where they've been blocked in their heart or blocked in creation because of fear. And it's just, and there's so many layers to it. You could just study it forever. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about, if you will, your process, doing your program, your class, you really are helping people learn how to manifest in their life, correct?
yes, what I'm trying to show them is that in the Jewish faith, there are sacred principles, just like in any other mystical tradition, that it is all about, holidays and family and the values that we've all been raised and taught in. But there are things like angelic realms, and there are things like forces of love and goodness that are waiting to
tapped.
assist you. They're just waiting for you to literally click in. And so it's very accessible. We usually start class with like a major area that you're working on, and we actually take that through the tree as if we're traveling through each sacred plant principle, and you can see your blocks, and I try to keep in touch with my students, and then they take the different levels, which involve the archangels and the Hebrew alphabet, and really teaching people a different level that was maybe made secret out of fear, or just it wasn't time. That's how I feel. We're in a very exciting time on the planet, because
Agreed.
things are changing, and these tools are important.
Absolutely. And I think you're hitting it right on the head when you're talking about the time. Because if we look at planetary changes and we look at the predictions for evolution of the soul of humanity, of the universe, we're noticing massive changes within, let's say, the last 50 years. But in the past 10 years specifically, things are on hyperspeed. More people than ever before who said, oh, I don't believe in that stuff, are going, well, I kind of had this thing happen and it made me wonder. Or you have other people that are saying, well, my grandmother used to talk about that, but I thought that was like folklore. And all of a sudden they're saying, because grandma did it, or because it's something that they heard some time ago, that they want to know more about it. They want to connect with it. So timing is, I'll say, very accurate in the sense that we as a people, not even us as a country, but we as a people on the planet, are looking for bigger, for greater, for a stronger connection than ever before. I believe that so much of what has transpired had to do with reconnecting with faith. Because if we look through different eras in history, we'll find that there is a period of time where it's all about building, and then there's a period of time that's all about healing. And then, each era seems to symbolize something. And at this particular juncture, it appears that we are all around the planet really interested in where do we go next.
Well, one of the things that I love about you, Halley, is that you're a psychic empowerer. And that's what this is really about, that we're each like a piece of this power. And the world's not happening to us, it's actually happening for us.
Exactly.
And we're all these little lights across the planet waiting to move forward. And I think that, the shift that's happening is the shift of the individual. We can make choices separate from the tribe and actually affect so many more people. It's exciting. And even the people that come into your life is very fast when you kind of let go of old ways of thinking. And
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, the opportunities for shedding, the opportunities for growth are so great. I want to share a story with you, if I can.
Love
about
to. Absolutely.
I recently lost my father, which very suddenly.
Yes, I had heard. I'm
yes,
sorry.
But he's part of the story because my parents were raised post-Holocaust, baby boomers, and this is going towards the Jewish faith and this new knowledge that people are craving. And
Right.
one of the things that people don't understand is that the angels, or like Archangel Michael and Raphael and Gabriel, are actually Hebrew words.
And Muriel.
Yeah.
Don't want to leave out Muriel.
Yeah, but Gavura El, they're actually Hebrew words.
Right.
And I'll never forget when I told my parents that the angels were from Judaism. And they lit up like children. And they started talking to them. And, I explained, it was like
How
I finally
fun.
gave them permission to
Tap into something.
tap into joy,
Right.
tap into love, tap into positivity. Sometimes fear is a good thing, but sometimes it's time to let go of that and really embrace the magic.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it was
And
really a neat story. But that's more, that gives a real essence of what I'm trying to do is really bring
You're
joy.
giving freedom.
Yeah,
And you're
total.
giving freedom to connect with joy, to, if you will, be a kid. We come into this life with, and I was sharing this with a client the other day because they were sitting in such an odd place. And I said, wait a minute, what happened, when you came into this world? You were all excited about being there, about connecting, about what you might see and everything that you saw. You wanted to touch and you wanted to feel and you wanted to taste. I mean, it's so important. And then all of a sudden, somebody said, no, that's a box. It's not a choo-choo train. It's not, what you think it is. It's a box. And you went, oh, okay. So what I see and what I feel and what I create isn't true. And then all of a sudden you become an adult and you go, wait a minute. I can actually create. I can actually change. And if somebody gives you permission to do that, it's party time. The idea that you have to act proper. Who created that? And don't get me wrong, I don't want to be in a restaurant with somebody standing on the table, pulling down their pants, doing a little hula. That I want to avoid. By the same token, if somebody wants to break into dance around the tables, I'm happy with that. It's that idea of take that joy and share it. And what's really funny is people might scoff at that type of behavior, and yet secretly they crave it. They wish they had the impetus, or they wish they had the bravery to get up and be that person. And I think, believe it or not, this is a segue into addictions. How often do people take on some sort of substance abuse because they're missing that element?
Yes. Well, and there's definitely a power issue there too. I mean, you're dealing with someone who is having a heart and head struggle. One of the teachers that I have taken classes of is Caroline Mace, and she's
Yes.
always teaching about addiction is about choice. It's about choice, and it's about balancing your head and your heart. And if
Believe it or not, we have to take a quick
We
break.
do? Okay, well, I hope that
Hold
made
on,
you,
balance
like,
head
hang
and
in there.
heart. Don't
Yeah.
go anywhere. Listen to the music. Dance a little bit. We'll be right back with the Halley Elise Show. Thank you.
Welcome to the Halley Elise Show,
Bob, did you
featuring
see
your
Halley
host,
Elise in the
empowerment
paper?
psychic Halley Elise.
The empowerment
She is an
psychic,
author,
Halley
psychic,
Elise.
and
They
media.
did a 2-page write-up. The columnist was enthralled. Halley went right to an issue that she was dealing with. I'm looking at HalleyElise.com right now.
What are you thinking? Should we schedule an appointment?
Matter of fact, yes. You have issues with Sue and me, my business. Take a look at her background. It's impressive, and she has decades of experience.
I want to put it on my iPad. What's her info?
Empowerment Psychic Halley Elise. HalleyElise.com. 561-755-2166.
Spell it.
HalleyElise.com.
So it's HalleyElise.com and 561-755-2166, right?
561-755-2166. That's it.
Hello, my name is Taylor Ash and I am the owner of Calypso Salt and Soap. Each batch is handcrafted by me, and when I started I really didn't want to make just ordinary looking soap. I'm pretty artistic by nature, so I wanted my soaps to reflect me and be artistic looking as well. In my soaps, I use all natural colors and oxides as well as micas, and that creates the beautiful colors and effect in each batch. Each batch is completely unique and no two batches are alike. My soaps each have special recipes of olive, coconut, cocoa butter, shea butter, mango butter, castor oil, and a few others that make each bar creamy, thick with bubbles, and they don't get mushy in water. This makes for a really good hard bar that's long lasting. Along with all these oils, I've added essential oils, which make them very good for you too. Things like lavender or lemongrass, even things like activated charcoal added to the bars, very good for your skin. I've tried my hand at Renaissance fairs here in Florida and the outcome was amazing. People loved my product.
Don't forget to come out to the Florida Renaissance Festival at Quiet Waters Park on Powerline, February 7th through March 15th. And meet Taylor Ash in person, surrounded by all of her beautiful soaps. That's February 7th through March 15th. You're listening to Empowerment Psychic Halley Elise, and she invites you to visit her website for more information about all that she does at halleyelise.com. Now, back to your host, Empowerment Psychic Halley Elise.
Hi, and welcome back. We have the lovely Rabbi Jenny here this evening, and before we were rudely interrupted by break, we were talking about tapping into joy and harmony. So if you remember your sentence, you can finish it now.
Well, I was talking about addictions, and I was talking about the fact that most of us kind of pick something up when we can't decide between our head and our heart. And it's kind of like my heart is telling me to go here, and my head is telling me to come here. Now just, eat a cookie. Or in my case, I'll go to Nordstrom. Like we all have
Nordstrom's at least is a good choice.
the wrap,
It.
always the wrap.
Oh, okay.
But, it's just a way to kind of numb out.
Right.
And so the closer we get to giving ourselves permission to joy, the more we integrate those two centers and we get, like you said, congruent and in harmony.
Yes.
But it's about surrounding yourself with supportive people, surrounding yourself with the tools that you need.
Absolutely.
And that's a big part of it, giving yourself permission to heal, giving yourself permission to get a cheerleader, get a squad, so, get a whole slew of people that you normally would, I would say, run from.
Right.
Because they're like crazy joyful, chase them. That's a really good thing.
It's fascinating that people are afraid of other people that want to support them. It's like, come here, let me give you a hug. No, that's okay. No, come here. Nope. It's really interesting how we're programmed to not trust strangers or to step away if somebody's too happy. Like what's the old saying about they're smiling, there must be something else going on, that type of thing. Like, right. Really? That really imbues a sense of distrust with everybody. How about if we all learned that if somebody's smiling, you should approach them, you should be joyful with them. But you've got a book that's already out, and you have a new book coming. So tell us a little bit about this. Sadly, I don't have a copy
terrible.
Here, which it's like, here it is. You see it? I'm just teasing. So share with everyone, please, as far as the two books.
My first book was the story, it was a kind of a memoir, and it was a story of my own journey through trauma and addiction myself, and coming through that to eventually become a rabbi. And the second book's a little different. The second book that I'm very excited about, not that I wasn't excited about the first, but this book I'm extremely excited about because it's what we're talking about. It's called Ahavatar, Ahava for the Hebrew word for love, and Avatar for a being who walks in the love and light. And it's a type of a therapy. It's a new type of therapy, and it shifts one's paradigm immediately from that of a victim to that of a hero or a visionary. And it's a series of empowerment exercises that I've developed in a workbook fashion. I've led a few classes. It's wonderful because it works with addiction, but it works with girls in foster care I've done in Dade County and Miami. It works with, adults, kids, widows, anybody who's looking to take an event in their life and see the gifts that they received. I believe we're I call it in training from the moment we get here. And everything that comes into our life is bringing something. And if you evaluate it, you see that there's a consistency that you've become you're now so perseverant, nobody can stop you.
Right.
Or you're so compassionate that nobody can tell you not what's good in someone, and only those events that have come to you have created that. So it changes everything. Plus it gets you in touch with the natural world and your own intuitive abilities, which helps you
Perfect.
align with, like what we're talking about, with your purpose. And it's really fascinating. It was work done, with the archangels and in mind and always around, and I'm just very excited about it. Hopefully, it'll be early in next year. So
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit since
Okay.
you have lessons in the book, and this helps people transmute what's taking place. Can you give us a little sample?
I can.
Okay.
One of the things that, and we can talk a little spiritual here because it's Halley show, and it's called coming out of the closet. When you wear a yarmulke. But one of the things that I've noticed about spirit or the universe is that it speaks to you easier in song. And so one of the
Yes.
things that I teach is that song or music vibrates at a faster level. And so sometimes you'll hear a song or think of a song when you think of a person
There's a
or a
message there.
situation. Right.
Right.
So what I usually have the students do is think of a person and think of the song that represents them, and that kind of gets the ball rolling. And then I'll be like, well, okay, what song represents your situation at hand? And what's important to always realize when you do this is that you only want the lyrics that they give you. You only want the piece of the song. Now, I'm an obsessive person, so I'll get like, I don't know, like Life in the Fast Lane by the Eagles, and I'll have to listen to the whole thing, which is not.
And then pick it out.
Yeah,
word
it's
by
not really
word.
it's not really a happy song, But the words they gave me from the song were pretty happy and motivating. So it's about tuning into the vibration. I know the Black Crowes, weird people to quote, but they talked about when they write songs, they just tap into the universal song.
Sure, you hear that from a lot of artists.
Yeah, and it's just one little piece of a avatar is getting people listening to music.
Perfect.
So,
And
yeah.
that's going to be released next month, yes?
I hope so. The first training where I'll be certifying people in the therapy will be in March. The vision for next year is to start traveling to different locations and giving the week-long training in South Dakota, in Taos, and
Ooh,
Casadega,
nice.
and eventually in Peru. That would be my biggest dream. So.
Oh, I'll have to connect you with a
Yeah.
friend of mine who's a shaman who goes there a lot.
Yeah.
Remind me after the show.
Yeah.
You might even know him and his wife. Anyways.
Is it
okay.
Elsa and Carrie?
Yeah, actually, there you
He's
go.
my teacher.
Well, that took care of that.
There you go, there you
Don't
go,
have to
there you
introduce
go.
her. She already
He's
knows him.
yes.
He's amazing. He's amazing. He
Yeah.
is. I mean, both of them are amazing. But as far as that connection, that's pretty funny. It's a small world. We were talking before the show about who knows who,
Mm-hmm.
and really and truly, it's hysterical. You mentioned a name like, oh my God, that's my best friend. You know?
Well, I've traveled all
incredible.
over the United States with them, actually. So, but the last thing about that is my talit bag. If you're Jewish, you know that you carry your talit or your
Right, or talis, depending on
talis, which,
Ashkenazi or Sephardic.
Yeah. But one of the fun memories I have of member building my bridges between the faiths was on the mountains with the shamans in Carrie's there. We wrap our mesa, which is our toolkit,
Yes.
as shamans, and I put everything in my talit bag, and they wrapped my talit bag, and it was just a great, I
Talk about
love to show,
emerging.
I love to show the similarities, the love and mercy and perseverance and all those, unity and learning, all of those qualities run in every faith.
Absolutely.
Everything.
I mean, and we were chatting about that also, which I think is just so astounding that we have separation in any way, shape, or form. I was sharing with somebody the other day that they keep talking, that now that they go to church on a regular basis, this person keeps saying, my God, my God, my God. And I'm thinking, I'm sorry, your God is my God. There's really no separation there. You can call your God by a different name if you want. Your God can have blonde hair or gray hair or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But source, God, spirit, whatever the name is, Ad Hashem, it's the same. We are all connected. We are all, if you will, following the same guidelines. It's just different interpretations sometimes. And what I think is amazing is when we look through comparative studies for religion, you'll find in all the biblical texts, they all refer to the same types of events. The name might be slightly different or, it could be off by a week, but it's the same information. And, studying the Kabbalah as you do, there it's reiterated again that, we are all one. We are all part of creation. The angels are there to assist us. And again, in every religion, it shows up. So how can we be separate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say it's amazing. I always say the truth came down on different mountaintops, and
Ooh,
they
I
don't
like that.
they don't eat the same food in India that they eat in Israel.
Right.
And they don't like the same colors and they don't wear the same clothes. And so God or the truth wouldn't reveal itself the same.
Makes
in
sense.
different climates, in different ways. It would use the creative force of love and light, would use the elements of that world to tell a different story. And so when you go either to the Lakotas or you go to, the Hindus or you go to Tibet, you'll find the same truth, but it's dressed up in the language that they could understand,
Absolutely.
based on their life there.
Absolutely.
So-
Now, if somebody wants you to come speak to their group, or they want to know more about your book, or they want to study with you, they can go to your website, yes?
Yes, they can go to rabbijenny.com.
Okay.
And you can email me from there at any time. And I am available, I wanted to just mention, for all life cycle events. And also tutoring in Hebrew and bar and bat mitzvah for all ages. I am so happy to have a Holocaust Torah in my possession. I finally, my congregants and support system, we finally brought her home, and she's beautiful for Romania. And it's just an exciting time. I'm
You
so
know what?
thrilled.
Let's mention that really quick. The Torah itself, you are a student, and it's not just you're teaching Hebrew or just teaching the Torah, but you continue to study and learn because of that Bible code that exists.
Yes.
So I just wanted to share that before we end it tonight, because it's something for people to consider. It's not just the word, it's what the word represents, the energy attached to it, and there's so much more there. Thank you so much, Rabbi Jenny,
Oh,
for
you're
being here.
welcome.
This was fun, and time went by way too fast. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Be enchanted and delighted. Connect each week here on WNN for the Halley Elise Show. Also on Facebook and at